Welcome to 103 TV and a very special guest today. You are special, aren't you, Bob
Well,
Thacker?
I'm not sure that I'm special.
Yeah. Bob is involved with an organisation called the Millennium Green Trust. It's the Mansfield Woodhouse
That is
Millennium
correct.
Green
Yeah,
Trust.
it's a real mouthful.
Yeah,
That's
and if I remember rightly, and I'm not too concrete on the history of it, that's a field, effectively, an area that way back in time was known as the field across the road from the school that was there, wasn't
this
it?
is true. Yeah, in more modern times, it's been called the vicarage field because the vicarage is at the top of it. But more importantly, the sledging field.
Yeah, because they could sledge down it.
That's right, and it's the best sledging slope in Mansfield Woodhouse.
I've seen some pictures on your website
Yes,
of people
yeah,
sledging down
yeah,
on dustbins.
absolutely. Yeah,
It's also in the past done some very famous things. I think in 1866, 67, that was when the Prince of Wales was getting married to Princess Alexandra.
there was a big party on
Yeah,
it.
they sent a
Yes,
balloon up in the air.
yes, yeah, they did. Yeah, so I hear anyway. I mean, I don't know how
You
true
weren't
it
there
is.
then.
Oh no, I
Well,
wasn't
maybe
there.
I
No.
was. No, but also I think around that time in that part of the 19th century, 300 school children got there for a tea party organised by the
Yes,
school. I was looking at the St Edmund's Church, and
yeah,
they've got it in the archives
right,
there.
yes.
And it says that the children went home with a bun and a drink at 9 o'clock at night, and they were all Christmas crackers, and
Ah,
they all went
brilliant.
to sleep.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't. I knew that there'd been a party there, and it was something to do with a royal occasion,
Yeah.
but I didn't quite know the numbers.
Prince of Wales,
Yeah,
yeah. And as it moved on, the vicarage was built there, wasn't it?
yes, at the
And
top
that's
of the
where it got
hill.
the vicarage field.
That's right.
And it continued. And in those days, perhaps things were more naturally nicer. People used it for events,
Yeah,
kids' parties, school games, that type of thing. And then around, I think it was about 20,000, 1998. The land became available to be bought.
right. Well, what happened then? There was a lot of money swilling around for the turn of the century, the millennium, and the lottery fund put up a substantial amount of money for local communities to purchase small plots of land and to manage those plots of land for the community. And that's how it came into being, and that's why it's called the Millennium Green.
It was a big lottery fund, and you got quite a load of loot. And then in 2000, you built it up. You
Yeah,
got some trustees aboard,
that's right.
and things really started
That's right.
to happen.
And we started to manage it then. I wasn't involved in 2000, but we started to manage it then, both for wildlife and for the community.
One of the pertinent reasons, and I think it's very pertinent you're here today, is that it went wrong after it was going so well.
Yes,
Suddenly in 2010, it all packed up. It fell apart. The
it did.
trustees
Yeah,
either died
yeah,
or left, and it became a desert. Well, the opposite to a desert,
yeah,
overgrown.
it did. Yes, it became a real scruffy piece
Yeah,
of
and for
land.
3 years, abusive behaviour and all those sort of things
Yeah,
happened.
yeah, it did. Really, there were only three trustees who were involved. There was a guy called Tony Barton, who was chair of the old Woodhouse Society. He was the prime mover, and it was his vision, really, that caused the Millennium Green to be founded in the first place. And he managed it for 10 years, and it did flourish during that first decade. But then they were all elderly gentlemen. The three of them either became incapable of carrying on through ill health, or they died.
Well, 3 years then,
Yeah,
it fell up. It was awful.
yeah, for
Overgrown,
13.
abusive
Yeah,
behaviour, all those things.
yeah.
And then in 2013, the cavalry arrived,
Well, I
and you
wouldn't
were on
say
a
that.
horse with the
Well,
cavalry.
there you go. Yes, I was not quite a horse. I came on my bike, I think, at the time. But the Joyce Bosniak, who was a councillor at the time.
Yes, she's green fingered.
Yes, she is. Yeah, and a woman called Sheila McFarlane decided that if they didn't do something about the Millennium Green, it would get no better. So they cast around for a new group of trustees. They reinvigorated the trust. They got in touch with Natural England, who'd taken over from the Countryside Commission as the sort of the sponsor, if you, or the main body that dealt with Millennium Greens nationally. And they talked to them, and they reconstituted the trust, the charitable trust. And that's when I became involved.
So you had a lot of work to do then, and a lot of work, a lot of things have happened. You've done
yeah.
some wonderful things.
Yeah, we did.
I was looking there, there's 3 oak trees were planted.
They were planted in 2018, to commemorate the end of the First World War, the Great War. Yeah. And we've built a community orchard over the years. We've got a wildflower meadow there. And yeah, generally we look after it for nature and wildlife, and the community.
And the community, Valley Point.
Absolutely.
Some great events. I used to love, I'm pretty old now, I used to love the old days of the local carnival, the church fair.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, that place, your place, lends itself to that.
Yeah. The big problem about it being a carnival or a fair is that it's on a slope.
Yeah,
and that's quite difficult to pitch tents and have tables and things. But we have had, we've had the Derbyshire and Nottinghamshire Entomological Society. They came and did a session there. We've had various building bird box sessions on the green, on the Millennium Green, and we've also had quite regularly school children come and use the green. So sometimes little toddlers, and people like that.
But all this is going to end. That is a real danger. The whole thing, the hedgehogs that you've brought back and everything else will be destroyed or whatever. Because some of you are saying time has come now when we need maybe younger people or people who could perhaps do more. And I know you've done an awful lot, you and your colleagues.
Yeah.
But without those trustees and people coming forward to be those trustees, we're back to 2013 again, aren't we?
Well, it might even be worse than that.
Because if it becomes vacant, bon vacante.
Exactly.
Bon vacante, it would go into the hands of not the government, the Crown. Well, it was the Crown Estates who would take it over.
The Crown Estates. If it did happen,
they'll sell it.
If we folded the trust because we couldn't find the trustees, then we'd have to sell off all the assets, but we can't sell the land because there's an asset block that very sensibly the Millennium Fund placed on it. So we can't sell that. That cannot be sold. So it will become bona vacantia, which means without a parent
Latin,
or without
it's not an owner.
And then it goes to the Crown Estates. And the job of the Crown Estates is to make money for the Exchequer.
Yeah, sell it.
So
building land.
Exactly. They'll not be bothered about 3.5 acres.
So the whole community thing's gone. What sort of trustees are you looking for? Because if you aren't there as trustees, it's going to go. So what sort of people are you looking for? What type of people?
We're looking for people that encapsulate in three areas. One, they've got to be of a mindset that they want to do voluntary work and they want to do something good for the community, worthwhile for the community. Hopefully they'll be either passionate or at least interested in nature and wildlife and conservation.
They'll mirror you.
Hopefully. And the third thing is, and it's gone right out of my mind, but it's just to do with why I'm wanting to pack up, really.
They've got to be willing to do some work.
Oh yes, they have. That's it. They've got to be prepared to roll the sleeves up.
Paintbrush, anything?
Shovels, mowers, yeah. It's that, because we need people who will be able to manage the volunteer team. And we've got a really good core team of about 8 volunteers who come and really get stuck in to managing the green and developing it and keeping it as it is now.
You say you need the trustees. How important is it that this place continues to give the service it can give to a community?
Well, if you think about, there are two reasons why it's good. One is obviously the wildlife, nature. I mean, we are the most nature-depleted country in Europe.
More butterflies than anywhere else in the world. More different types.
Yeah, well, we have, and in fairness, we've had, I think, I'm right to say, we've had 17 different varieties of butterfly on the green, which is not bad for 3.5 acres of land in an urban area like Mansfield Woodhouse. So there is that aspect. We've even had badgers on there recently, yeah, because a guy at the top of the hill filmed them on a camera trap. But that's one thing, yeah. The other thing is that there is an issue about green space being good for well-being.
Oh yeah, people feel healthier.
Exactly. And if there's a bit here that I'd just like to read to you, and it says, green environments are also associated with better mental health and well-being outcomes, including reduced levels of depression, anxiety and fatigue, and enhanced quality of life for both children and adults.
Right.
Now, if the Millennium Green goes, we'll lose all that.
But for it to remain, let's be very clear, it needs trustees. People watching on 103 TV at the moment, maybe getting interested, captivated by your enthusiasm.
Right.
If somebody does come aboard as a trustee, just sum up for us what you feel they gain from it and what they give to the community from it.
Well, I mean, we've talked about what they're going to give. They're going to ensure that Woodhouse has that facility, yeah, and that nature manages to thrive in this small pocket of green space in an otherwise built-up area. But I think that it's the satisfaction that I get of seeing things get better and stay good. Okay, we have issues about, you know, sort of occasionally we'll get people who don't behave on the green. You know, there's young men and women who sort of haven't got enough to do, perhaps, yeah, and cause problems. But by and large, it's the satisfaction of knowing that you're doing something that's worthwhile and that actually makes a difference.
The producers in my ears are saying something I've got to say to you right away. How do they get in touch with you?
Well, I think we're going to have a strap on the bottom of the screen when this production gets...
Yes, I've already heard in my ears that that's going to happen as well.
Yeah, it is, yeah. So they can do that. They can. I can't remember the telephone number, to be honest, but there's a web page we've got, which is...
Are you staying on?
Yes, I am, because I think it's important that there's some continuity, but I won't stay on as a trustee. I will stay on as a volunteer. And perhaps not for more than 2 or 3 years, but at least it will have that period when I can pass on what I know to the people who are coming and take my place.
From us at 103.2 TV and of course the radio station as well, will you pass on to your colleagues, your volunteers, the trustees you've had, the people that have kept it going since 2013, our thoughts on it as well? We've had a walk round, and Paul Charbonne, who helped produce this particular video that we're talking about now, he's been and he told me it's an exceptional place. Well done to all of you.
Thank you. I will pass that on. Thanks for your time.